Slay It with Flowers is not too bad. I didn't completely love it, but there were definitely some entertaining aspects to this. This is a Fox and Crow cartoon from 1943. It's directed by Bob Wickersham and written by Leo Salkin with a voice cast including Pinto Colvig, Frank Graham, and Kent Rogers. And it starts off with Crow buying a whole bunch of packets of seeds, and then we see him going into this building and he goes onto the roof. There's a rooftop garden, or at least he's planting a rooftop garden. And Crow happened to see him with all of these seeds and realizes that if he follows Crow, he can get a tasty snack if he helps himself to the seeds. And this is exactly what he does. As quickly as Fox is planting them, Crow is picking them up and eating them. And we then see Fox trying tactics to stop the Crow from doing this, and Crow tries everything that he can to get Fox out of the way so that he can enjoy the seeds. I don't want to go into too much detail about the specifics as I don't want to spoil it. In a moment though, with a spoiler warning, I will mention, I think, at least one thing that I just really loved. I loved how it was animated, but I'll talk about that in a moment. In general, it was a good story. I like the fact that it was a rooftop garden. It absolutely didn't need to be. Well, I say that. My favourite thing, my favourite bit of animation at least, did rely on it being a rooftop garden. But in theory, they could have done this just on the ground in a normal garden. But I like that they made it a little bit different. It meant that it was a little bit more interesting, and I really appreciate that. As I said at the beginning, I didn't completely love it because there were just times where I maybe wasn't as engaged with it as I would have liked to have been. That's not to say it's bad as such. There are just times when I didn't think it was quite as interesting or as creative as it was at other times. But in general, the concept is pretty interesting. It definitely works well, and I love seeing Fox and Crow interact and winding each other up and wondering what on earth they're going to try next in order to get their own way. And there's definitely a nice level of creativity in the things that they're doing. So even though I didn't love it, it's definitely not too bad. And the animation itself is really beautiful. And if you haven't seen it and you're a fan of Fox and Crow, I'd say it's worth checking out. It's not going to be the first Fox and Crow that I recommend, but that being said, if there's anything about this that seems appealing to you, then I guess it's as good a place as any to start with. The characters. Definitely worth watching, although it's not perfect. And I will now, with a spoiler warning, mention just the one thing that really stood out to me as being really great. That's not to say this is the only thing that I enjoyed, but it's certainly the only thing that I feel like I want to mention. So this is a spoiler for what I consider to be one of the best bits, and it's the bit where Fox is climbing up the drain pipe. I just loved how that was animated. It looked really brilliant, really, really effective. And as I said, that did actually kind of rely on it being a rooftop garden, because had it been a garden on the ground, that kind of wouldn't have worked. So actually, while they definitely could have set it on the ground, there are certain things that really utilise that setting very well. So in general, pretty good. May not be perfect, but I'd say it's still worth watching.